Hey YouTube, BigHoss762 here. I'm out here shooting some knife videos today, and thought I'd do a quick comparison between the Ontario SP8 on the left, the BK9 in the middle, and the Ka-Bar Large Heavy Bowie on the right there. I already shot some footage of the BK9 for another comparison video, so I'll probably just recycle that footage into this video. But yeah, let's do some comparisons and see how they stack up to one another. Alright, so we all know that all these knives can chop. So let's try some other things. Let's see how well I can make a feather stick with this. Now, I'm not very good at making feather sticks, but as you can see, this knife can make shavings and curls to help get your fire started if you needed to. That didn't help. Oops, sorry about that. Now obviously for something like this, smaller knife's going to be easier, but that's a pretty sharp point there if you needed to make a I don't know, trap or a spear or something like that. This can do smaller tasks if you needed to. Let's try a notch. Not great, but I'm not very good. I've made several notches today and they all look like that. It doesn't matter what the knife is, it's just my skills are not great. So, dang flies. But yeah, that it will do it. It has more to do with my skills rather than the knife, I would say. Because even my smaller knives come out looking like that, so. But yeah, this will do okay for a if it's all you had. You know, you can make traps or feather sticks or whittle or do whatever you needed to with it. Here we have the SP8. This thing is a 1/4 inch thick, and you can see it's not a very high grind on there, so it has a pretty thick edge. But we're gonna go ahead and try it out anyway and see what we can get done with this thing. Right away, I can tell you that you could do shavings with this. Let me get a fresh stick here. There we go. That's a little better. This will make shavings. Maybe not in this heartwood here, but it will do shavings. But it's because of that thick grind on it. It is a lot harder. but it will do it. Not quite as thin as the others, but you know, with some practice you could probably do better. Because this thing is a 1/4 inch thick, it's a lot heavier, and because of that, it's also harder to, you know, maneuver and do delicate stuff with it just because of the weight. But it's, with some practice, I mean, you could do whatever with it. This point isn't the sharpest, but I mean, it'll do. You could get it there if you needed to. If it was something you really needed to do. And again, you've seen how awful my notches are, but this one seems to do about as good as the rest. Maybe not quite as good, but pretty close. Nice thing about this one, this 1/4 inch thickness, this log here, I can pry on this thing, dig into it, and it's got that nice chisel tip too. I could dig in here looking for grubs or fat wood, whatever you need to do. Pry a little bit with it. It's not a pry bar, mind you, but you could a little bit. This is pretty rotten soft wood here, but I'm more comfortable doing it with this than I would the others. This one here is my favorite. This is my favorite knife ever, probably. The BK9. It's you know, this chops great, as to be expected from a knife this large, but what a lot of people don't realize is that this also works very well at carving and smaller tasks. Obviously, it's not going to be as easy as a smaller, lighter knife, but it will do it. What I like about this knife is how good it is at everything. Obviously, it's not the best at any particular thing, although I haven't found a knife for under $100 that will chop as well as this, but it chops very well, and it also does the smaller tasks fairly well for as big as it is. And you know, that will get done whatever you need to get done. Bang. This will do whatever you need it to. As you can see, that's maybe not quite, but almost halfway through that log. Alright, let's do some chopping. Here you can see the BK9 notch. I'll roll in the footage from that. Let's see. There's a big knot right there. Let's try. Alrighty here. Well, I mean, I know that's not very scientific, but I can tell you it doesn't bite as deep. The BK9 is a little easier than this, but it's also, this is about a $50 knife compared to 80 or 90, so, and it's plenty capable, so let's give it a little bit more here, just to, and if you look, you can see I'm almost all the way through, or almost halfway through that, roughly. So it's not bad. It's not, I mean, it's not really far behind the BK9. I still prefer the 9 though. Alrighty, let's give this thing. That will do a number. This thing is heavy though, heavy. It's gonna get tiresome swinging this thing before the other two, I'll tell you that right now. So I think it might be as fast as the 9, but those swings take more energy. I think the 9 is going to do it with less energy expenditure, so to speak. And just for the heck of it, that's going to take all day. Yeah, you could probably do a notch with that. Obviously this is probably a bit thick for this saw. This saw is not going to be good for cutting wood. It's going to be a lot faster to chop through it with the knife. But you know, it's a good blade. I don't regret buying it now that I've tested it against the others. It's going to be something I'll hang on to for a while. The 9 is still going to be my go-to though. Definitely have to say the BK9 is darn near the ultimate 9-inch blade or so in this size. Definitely prefer the 9 to any other knife I've tried. It's pretty lightweight, good size. It carves and does little things well, and holds an edge really well. It's just a good knife. So this isn't, I wouldn't say the end-all be-all. I mean, I'm not an expert, but I'm just a guy that likes to play with knives, so you know, take that for what you will. But anyway, I mean, if you're wondering, I hope maybe this gives you a little bit more information to go on, and thanks for watching. Just for the heck of it, here is the compact Bear Grylls Parang. seems to do all right chopping, but this finger hook right here, every time I hit, I feel the impact in my finger. So that hurts. That is really annoying. Right in my finger right there. Every single hit. I mean, it seems to cut pretty decent. But gosh, that handle, and then I already, right off the bat, I had to wrap it because it was way too thin. So, you know, I don't know, maybe if you had gloves or something on. I usually don't wear gloves. I like having the dexterity in my fingers to test it, to feel what I'm doing. Let's try something else. Let's see here. Seems to do decent curls. Carves alright if you choke up on it. You could carve a marshmallow stick or a spear or whatever real fast with that. And nice and light, although I'm not used to the parang shape, so that's throwing me off a little bit. I'd say this is pretty close as far as the chopping goes and everything else, really. I mean, I'd say it's pretty close to the BK9, although this is like $25. I'm not expecting this to hold an edge. The handle's obviously not anywhere near as comfortable. So, I guess for 25 bucks or whatever it is, this is an alright, an okay tool. You know, if you don't want to spend the money on something more expensive.